Hello and welcome. I'm Dwight Gross, a consultant with the Ohio Department of Education in the Office of Curriculum and Assessment. This presentation will help guide districts in the development of the interim end-of-course examinations to meet the mandates of amended Substitute Senate Bill 165. This new legislation requires that not later than July 1st, 2013, local boards of education are to adopt interim end-of-course examinations for American history and American government. These interim examinations are to be used until the state end-of-course examinations are selected and operational. Ohio's end-of-course examinations for American history and American government are to be determined by July 1st, 2014. The end-of-course examination for American government is to have at least 20% of the examination devoted to the identified documents, as well as historical evidence of the role of documents such as the Federalist Papers and the Anti-Federalist Papers to firmly establish the historical background leading to the establishment of the provisions of the Constitution and Bill of Rights. The legislation does not stipulate any percentage of content for the end-of-course examination for American history. However, it still must address the historical documents. In compliance with the legislation, the Ohio Department of Education posted revised course syllabi and model curricula for high school American history and American government. These, as well as the gap analysis charts for the two courses, will assist districts in creating interim examinations. To download the gap analysis tool, go to the ODE's home page at www.education.ohio.gov. Under Educators at the bottom of the page, click on Academic Content Standards. Now on the left, click Social Studies. Here's the Social Studies Standards page. Click the link Transition near the bottom of the page. Here are the gap analysis charts. When using the course syllabi and model curriculum for American history, the additional content statements will be found listed under the Historic Documents topic. The content statements are 5 through 9. For American government, the additional content statements and associated model curriculum entries will be found listed in Content Statement 6 and Content Statements 8 through 13 under the topic Basic Principles of the U.S. Constitution, and in Content Statement 18 under the topic Ohio's State and Local Governments. So, how can districts develop their own interim end-of-course exams? Districts can use items from test banks that are part of the ancillaries that were provided through textbook purchases. They can use items that have been developed for their curriculum guides or from their teachers' archives. Or districts can create new test items for the exams. Districts can form committees of teachers to create these new test items. If a district decides to create new test items, here are some tips for their development. A multiple choice item includes the STEM, options, and maybe a stimulus. Now, let's examine these parts. Here is an example of a stimulus. The stimulus is reading material or graphic information that precedes the question posed and provides information pertinent to answering the question. The STEM is a statement that poses the question that must be answered. The options are the choices provided from which the student must select an answer. An important step is to make sure the test items align to the standards. To do this, it is necessary to use the content statement, content elaboration, and the expectation for learning found in the model curriculum. For our example, we will use Content Statement 5 from the high school American History course. It connects the Declaration of Independence to Enlightenment ideas and to the grievances of British subjects in the American colonies. The expectation for learning for this content statement asks the student to explain this connection. Here is the item we previously looked at. Take a moment. Is it aligned? In fact, this item is not aligned because it does not address the expectation for learning for this content statement. It merely calls for the rote recall of the wording of the document. It does not address an underlying enlightenment idea. Now let's look at an item that does align to the content statement. This item is aligned because it addresses the expectation for learning for content statement 5. It provides students with an example of a grievance from the Declaration of Independence, and the students are called upon to recognize an applicable Enlightenment idea. Now let's look at how to create a constructed response item. Constructed response items require a student to generate or construct an answer without options from which to choose. Using the same content statement, here is an example constructed response item. Here is a stimulus. The prompt is the part of the item that presents the question or tasks to be answered. The next and important step in the development of this item is the creation of a rubric. The rubric presents the criteria that will be used in scoring the open-ended item. Please note that these test items are not actual items and that they have not been developed for any end-of-course examination. They are for illustrative purposes only. We have posted a timeline that districts can use to prepare and administer the end-of-course interim exams. It is available on our website. To access more information on amended Substitute Senate Bill 165, go to the Social Studies Standards webpage and on the left side click Social Studies. Here is the Social Studies navigation page. Then click here. We hope this presentation has been helpful. Thank you.